What's good, YouTube? Hypnotic here, welcoming you back to our next deck profile on the channel. Now today I'm bringing in my Super Quantum Monarch build that I ended up taking to the Altoona Iowa Regional this past weekend, where I actually went undefeated, but I did get a couple draws, and I ended up getting 19th place. Technically I didn't lose a match, but I did lose a couple games, which ended up with me drawing a few of my matches. But today we're going to be going ahead and talking over the entire build, the 40 card main deck, the 15 card side deck, and the 0 card extra deck. To explain my choices and why I made certain choices, certain decisions of why I played certain cards, why I didn't play certain cards, etc., etc. So we're going to start off with one of the main monsters of the deck, which is 3 Yugioh. Yugioh is the special, or a lot of people play 2 of this. I love 3 a lot better. People say you only want to play 2 because you don't want to draw into this. I feel like 3 is the optimum level, or optimum number I should say, just because even if you do draw this, you do get that normal summon. If you draw into an idea and you can't really do anything with it, like, your main play is special summon this. Like, you can set idea, but you can't summon it and then automatically have a tribute summon. So it doesn't really work out as well. So I like playing 3 Yugioh. Next up, like I mentioned before, is idea. We are playing 2 idea. Now we're playing 2 because you don't really want to draw into this. We do play 1 for 1 in the deck. That is the optimum way to get this out, is 1 for 1, bring it out. That way you're not wasting your normal summon. You don't want to get effect failure, but a lot of people actually started citing effect failure and maining max C. So game 1 is usually okay to try a normal summon idea, and usually depending on the number of cards in their hand, it's easy to risk and not really worry about it. So we're playing 2 idea. One of the best cards in the deck, allows you to recycle all your banished spells and traps that are monarch based. Next up, we are playing 3 of the main tribute monster of the deck, Aether. Aether is the best card in the deck just because it allows you to special summon on your opponent's turn, or tribute summon on your opponent's turn, which then allows you to activate its effect of special summon. So it really allows you to disrupt your opponent's plays, allowing you to tribute your opponent's monsters or to bring out Kuras to pop your opponent's stuff. And it just works out really well to have 3. There are a couple times where I wish I would have had more of these, but obviously you can't. You can always recycle these with Erebus as well. Speaking of Erebus, we are playing 3 Erebus, the Underworld Monarch. Another one of the best cards in the deck just because it does not target when it activates its effect. You can send your Pantheism, your Primes, your whatever you really need, your Stormforce to the grave, so you can banish them with Primes, so you can add them back with Idea, etc. Works really good, as well as this other effect where you can discard a spell or trap during either person's main phase and add a Monarch back to your hand, so you can go ahead and continue on. So you can activate Erebus effect during your opponent's main phase, discard a Pantheism, bring Aether back to your hand, and then during their main phase, activate Aether's effect, banishing a spell or tribute summon. So it just works really well to recycle all of your monsters, really, your monarchs anyway. Moving on to go off of your 2 Aether to kind of disrupt your opponent's plays. We're playing 2 Kuras. A lot of people play 1, a lot of people play 3. I play 2. If you draw into your 1, you're only playing 1. You're kind of done for because you can't really use that effect, and you end up using it for a Twin Twister or just to kind of play off of a return. So I like 2 just because if you do draw into 1, you still have 1 in the deck that's ready to go for an Aether disruptive play if you need it. Then we're also playing the 1 Light and Darkness Dragon. I decided to main this instead of side it, and it came in handy quite a few times over the weekend, especially against an undefeated Monarch FTK player, when I was able to go first game 2 after he destroyed me game 1, and I dropped this on him, and he couldn't really do anything about it. So it didn't help that I also had a Solemn Scolding set. That's besides the point. Now, like I mentioned before, we are playing the Super Quantum version. So to play off of that, we are playing the 2 Super Quantum red layer and the 1 Super Quantum blue layer. We're playing 1 blue layer just because we do have the 3 we're playing 2 E-Tallies in the deck, and you really don't need that 1 blue because you can recycle it. And we're playing 2 red just because you can go ahead and once you get those 2, one in your hand, 1 in your grave, you can kind of loop them, and you don't really need the blue anymore. So works out really well. We are playing 2 hand traps in the main deck, being the 2 effect failure. I main this instead of side it just because I feel like this really hurts a lot of decks. If I'm playing against decks like Pepe, I'll go ahead and side this out. And decks like PK Fire, that kind of thing, Draco Palace, I'll side this out. This is mainly for the Monarch matchup, which I ended up playing against 4 Monarch players throughout the day, so it worked out really well for me. When I'm playing against the other decks, I'll go ahead and side in the Maxis and the Flying Seas, etc. Just because those are more judgmental to them, and these really hurt the Monarchs, which I was expecting to see a lot of, and I did see a lot of them. So, moving on to the spells, we are playing 3 Domain of the True Monarchs, 3 of Pantheism of the Monarchs, the main draw power of the deck, which a lot of people think is going to get hit on the ban list. I feel like maybe it could get hit at 2. If it goes any farther than that, it really just hurts the consistency of the deck, and I'm not really sure how well it would be after that, and I don't really think that Konami wants to kill the deck just yet. It is topping a few regionals, but it isn't making as big of an impact as Draco Pals or Pepe did when it was at its full power. Then we do have our 3 Tenacity, our Searcher of the deck. That allows you to build up your, just making it more consistent, allowing you to get to what you need. And then one of the main cards, which everybody thinks should get hit, is 3 of the Monarch Stormforth. Stormforth is one of the best cards in the deck. Allows you to pretty much just get rid of whatever your opponent has in the field. So that kind of helps you get rid of all problem cards. A lot of people think it's going to get, which I do agree, it should probably get hit. I'm not going to like it when it gets hit, but I do agree that it is a card that is kind of unfair to your opponent. So I do think it is probably going to get hit. Moving along, we do play 3 more Monarch spells. We're playing 2 Return of the Monarchs, which allow you to add Monarchs to your hand. So if you only have 1 in your hand, you can able to start adding them back to your hand and really build up some plays, because I felt like there was a few consistency issues with the deck where you didn't always have Monarchs in your hand, you didn't have Tribute Monsters in your hand. So this is a way just to add those to your hand. And then we're playing 1 of the March of the Monarchs. March of the Monarchs is amazing. A lot of people undervalue this card, but I just see it as a really good card. They kind of have to play around things now if you have this on the field, because it stops a lot of plays, and it can stop things like Strike, because you can can't be destroyed. So it'll negate their effects, but they won't be destroyed. So I think it's really well in that aspect as well. Then we're playing 2 Emergency Teleport, 2 Eteli instead of 3. I felt like 3 was too cloggy. You didn't really need it that many times, just because you're only playing 2 reds, and once you special summon your blue twice, then that's all you really need. And then after that, I feel like you can just tribute your red or your blue and leave it in the graveyard anyway. And then if your red goes to the grave, you can special summon your blue. So it just works out in that way as well. They were playing 2 1-ofs for spells. We're playing 1 1-for-1 and 1 Regeki. This deck kind of had a problem with normal summoning Idea, so I did put the 1-for-1 in there just so you're able to special summon your Idea and not waste your normal summon on that in case it gets Veilered, as well as we're also playing the 1 Regeki, just because I really just felt like if your opponent is playing Draco Pals or something along that line and they get a really big board on the field, it's really hard to get rid of. You can definitely play out a few things, you can take a few things out, but they just have so many resources and they're playing pendulums and they can just bring everything back. So if you're able to just wipe a field and then go off yourself and build yourself a board real quick, hopefully you're able to kind of stop their momentum, whereas if you don't do that and you can kind of get rid of 1 or 2 things, they can just bring everything back out the next turn and you can't really get any momentum. Then we're also playing 2 trap cards, those 2 trap cards being the Prime Monarch. A lot of people play Escalation. I'm not really a huge fan. I didn't really find room for it in the deck. I felt like these 2 were probably the best traps in the deck. A lot of people just like to dump these right away with your Erebus and your Aethers. I like to dump 1, but I also like to keep 1 in the deck, because if you're turning into a grind game, you can always go ahead and start recycling your Pantheisms, your Primes, your Returns, your Stormforce, anything you really need. You can start recycling those with Prime and then draw cards so you won't deck out. There were quite a few times where you could banish a Prime with Prime, special summon it, then banish Eidos, special Idea, special Eidos, tribute, and then add this to your hand. And then you can set it, and then you can start recycling your Stormforce back into your deck and drawing cards. So I think that works really well. A lot of people don't really know that trick or really use that trick, but I think that it's really good. So that is the entire main deck. I'm going to go ahead and show you my side deck real quick. I feel like side decks are just kind of what you feel is going to be at the event that you're playing. Monarchs is kind of special though, because I feel like a lot of people's side decks are going to look the same. So we're playing 2 Majesty's Fiend, hits a lot of decks, hits Cosmo, hits BA, hits pretty much everything. I was playing 2 Jinzo. I was really afraid of the Monarch FDK. I feel like if I could drop this turn 1 on them, if I drew into it, I could stop their Magical Explosion or their Life Equalizer. And then we're also playing 2 Gamma Seal, because Magnus is a thing if they're able to get it out. Moving on, we're playing 2 Droll Lockbird. Being able to stop your opponent from adding cards to their hand is really good, and it kind of deadens their plays. 2 Flying C, because PK Fire is a thing and I don't really want them to exceed. And then 2 Maxi, because if they're going to try and give you the, if they're going to try and do the Maxi challenge, by all means go ahead and do it. Give me as much hand advantage or card advantages that you want, and then I'll go ahead and beat you the next turn. We're also playing the 2 Twin Twister in the side. I don't main any of them, or MSTs. I felt like being in the side is good enough, so I had them in against certain problematic decks, as well as counter-siding against decks are going to be setting in your Masquerade Strix or your Iron Imperial Walls. And then we're playing the one trap in the deck, or in the side, the one Solemn Scolding. That's just there because we do play 2 other traps. I don't want to play 2 of these because there have been times where I played 2 of them and I drew into both of them at the same time, which doesn't really work out that well. And at the same time, you don't really want to draw into, or you don't want to set that many, you don't want to play that many, because 3,000 life points is a lot, and if you activate that twice, that's 6,000, and I feel like that's just not that smart. So that is the entire side deck, the entire main deck. If you did enjoy, please make sure to give it a thumbs up because all your support is greatly appreciated. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, leave those down in the comment section as well, and I'll be sure to comment back. I usually do comment to anybody who leaves a comment on my videos, whether it be positive or negative, or any suggestions as well. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, this is the Hypnotic Toad signing out for now. Peace out.